In this video, we're going to be talking about how long it actually takes to grow out your silver hair. Hi, I'm Lynn, and I inspire women to go naturally silver as seamlessly as possible. How fast does hair actually grow? And what milestones can you look forward to on your silver hair journey? On average, hair is said to grow about ½ an inch a month, right about there. So it's not very much. So you're looking at every 2 months, maybe getting an inch of growth. This is on average, and it can be impacted by a lot of things, like genetic factors, environmental factors, nutritional factors, underlying health conditions. If you're like me, you were dyeing your hair for decades, and when you started to see gray popping up, you probably thought your hair was growing extremely fast, to the point that after about just 2 weeks, you felt like you wanted to grab a bottle of hair dye and touch up those roots or make an appointment with your colorist. Then when you gave up dyeing your hair, it seems like your hair just stopped growing. Like your hair started coming in painstakingly slow. Like watching paint dry slow. Like the watch pot never boils kind of slow. Going at a snail's pace. You get the idea. The growth seemed like it completely stopped. I promise you that the rate of hair growth didn't change when you stopped dyeing it. It's simply that now you're waiting for it to grow in. You're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and you might even be taking out one of these and trying to measure each millimeter of precious growth as it's coming in, which makes it seem like it's going even slower. So I broke down some major milestones that I came up with when I was growing out my hair so it would give me something to look forward to and help me keep going. These are arbitrary milestones that I came up with that gave me the impression that there was growth going on. So once I started growing it in and I started seeing the inevitable skunk stripe starting at the top of my head, that really wasn't that eventful for me. It may not be very impactful or eventful for you other than the fact that it's now showing that you're growing out your gray hair. But think about how far your hair has to travel from your part down to the sides of your head for you to really start to see any hair growth that you can appreciate. So if you were to take this tape measure and you were to put it on top of your head, well, an inch is only going to give you just up there. It's still on the top of your head, so that's kind of boring. When your hair first starts growing in, it does have to grow outward before it starts to grow downward. And so this is the part, as it comes across the curvature of your head, this seems to be the part, for me at least, that took forever. For me, the first milestone really wasn't until it hit about eyebrow level. Some people say ear level, might be a little bit longer. That's that infamous year to the ear. So that's about 6 inches of growth, which again, on average, if hair is gonna grow at ½ an inch a month, then you're looking at a year to get to 6 inches. Just keep in mind when you're thinking about inches of growth, 4 inches here is bangs, right? But then 4 inches here is way up here. Looking at 8 months to a year to really have that first big wow milestone. Like I would call it a functional milestone because it's where you actually see something functional happening. For a functional milestone, which is way more fun, this eyebrow level, get to that a little faster so you get a little bit more satisfaction out of that. Once it hit eyebrow level, that was a length that actually signified something. It was like, wow, okay, we've got some growth going on here. If I were to cut bangs right now, I would pretty much have salt and pepper or silver bangs. And that's why eyebrow level was so significant for me. The next milestone for me was a little bit lower than that. It was kind of a cheekbone level. So maybe add another inch and a half to that. This would be maybe like a curtain bang level. Again, at the time I didn't have curtain bangs, so it really didn't matter to me. But it was just something that, if I wanted curtain bangs, they would be fully salt and pepper or silver. So then there's nose level. That was the next milestone. And this is where, again, if you're measuring it from the front, that's about 6 inches. But if you're measuring it from the top, we're at the ear level. So nose level in the front is about 6 inches. You're looking at about a year to get there. But as a functional milestone, this is a big deal because if you take those 6-inch long front pieces or nose level front pieces and put them back, they're now in your ponytail. And so this entire part of your ponytail is now your natural hair color. That is probably one of the most significant functional milestones in your silver hair journey, because now when you pull it all back, you can really start to see what it's going to look like. And this also does depend on the size of your head. So, you know, these milestones, it may be more, it may be a little bit less for you. But if you were to pull all of your hair up into a messy bun or a ponytail, all of this part is going to be silver. And actually that was kind of a cute look, because you'd have this silver right here, all of this, and then you have this messy bun on the top that is your dyed color. At this point, you're pretty much comfortable with the grow out, where you're kind of rocking that. You're thinking, this looks really cool. But remember, at this stage, none of it's really in the ponytail yet. Then it was corners of the mouth level. And again, these are my arbitrary milestones that just kind of kept me in the game and kept me going. But corner of the mouth level was another significant milestone after nose levels. Let's measure, right? Corner of the mouth is maybe another inch and a half. So you're looking at about another 3 months after that. Now what's exciting about this length is that depending on the length of your hair, this is where your hair is almost at a half and half of silver on top, dyed ends on the end. So this is really exciting, because it's at this point when you're in the home stretch. So you have silver on the top, and then you have whatever other color you have going on underneath that. This might be the point where you may decide to color blend it or do some low lights, because at this point, the ends of your hair have probably turned pretty brassy. Or you could just leave them and just rock that blorange, that grombre that you have going on. And you may not really care about it at that point. In fact, you probably won't. And when that part happens, when you no longer care about it, that's amazing. Once it gets to chin level, and again, this is all assuming that you have not cut your hair short and approached your grow out that way. But if you've left any length to your hair, once you get to chin level, you really don't think about it that much anymore. I mean, once you're at chin level, you're way beyond the point of people questioning whether or not it's intentional. This part's really exciting, because this is when it starts showing up in the ponytail. This is when you start seeing and getting an idea of what your full grow out might actually look like, maybe for the first time. This is the time when you really start to see it pull together. At this point, it's framing the face. You can maybe play around with some new makeup colors. You might even want to play around with some new clothing colors. I started wearing brighter colors since I went gray and since it started framing my face. As you can see, I still like wearing my dark colors. I still wear black, I still wear brown. I think silver hair goes with just about anything, but occasionally I do throw on a royal blue or a bright pink, something that I would never have worn with my brown hair. This is the stage where you can really start having fun with it. So you may be looking at wearing things like royal blue or fuchsia or purple, colors that you may never have even thought about wearing. And the other thing is your makeup choices may change. You may actually wear red lipstick for the first time, because nothing to me looks more classic, elegant, and sophisticated than silver hair with a red lipstick. Amazing. Now, again, taking out our measurement, if we're going from the top of our head, you're looking at, for chin level, approximately 2 years of growth. Again, if you're gonna measure it from here, you know, this is way beyond chin level. So these measurements can get very deceiving. And this is why I would caution you, if you're reading articles and you're getting discouraged, if you're Googling how long does it take to grow out silver hair, it's all going to depend on where they're taking the measurement. To answer the question of how long does it take to complete your journey, there are so many things that you have to consider. You have to consider where you're measuring from. You have to consider the target length of your hair, because obviously if you're cutting your hair into a pixie, none of this is going to apply to you, because you're pretty much completing your journey real quick. But if you're keeping your hair long, they say about 2.5 years to shoulder length. Again, it depends on where you're measuring. What I would recommend that you do if you're measuring your own journey is always measure in the same place. Don't measure from the top of your head 1 month and the front of your head the following month. Always keep it consistent, and that way you can really gauge exactly how much progress. I chose to keep my hair at mid-back length So I'm still growing out hair dye and I'm well beyond 3 years of growth. But again, like I say, at this point, I don't even notice it anymore. If you're gonna go any longer than 2.5 years or shoulder length, then govern yourself accordingly, because it is gonna take you longer, obviously, to complete your journey. Now, overall, don't let these time frames intimidate you, because I assure you that you are not going to be obsessively measuring your hair the entire time. Speaking for myself, but I'm sure other women would agree that the real time that you're obsessively wanting to measure and look at the growth coming in is when it's still at that part where it's the skunk stripe, because that is the most distressing part of this journey. Watching that skunk stripe come in. Is it over yet? When is this gonna start looking intentional? That's when you're pulling out the tape measure and you're measuring every millimeter of growth, because you just want that part to end. So just buckle up, hang in there, and get through that first part. Try to love it every step of the way, because as I'm finally starting to realize, before you know it, your journey is gonna be over. And unless you plan on doing this and then dyeing your hair again and doing this all over again, or doing it multiple times over and over, once your journey is over, it's gonna be over. Try to enjoy the process. It can be kind of fun. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.